My 33 male, best friend, 33 male, and girlfriend, 26 female, discarded me to be together. So I thought I'd share my story. Strap in for a long post if you're ready. Any info that may elicit questions on how I knew, it was because either friends or family filled me in after T-Day. My best friend is someone who I have known since high school. We were in the same homeroom and were inseparable after that. Basically, brothers from another mother. You know the whole spiel. We kept zero secrets and are an open book to each other. Our dating lives, relationships, dirty laundry, etc. You name it. He knew everything about me, and I knew everything about him. Even though he may be my best friend, I would never introduce any woman I know to date him because his dating life has been a complete disaster. He has had 4 exes, 2 of which cheated on him. One was sleeping with multiple men. The second one was two-timing with another man for a year. He cheated on his 3rd girlfriend and dumped her to be with his 4th girlfriend. He also hits up prostitutes on a regular basis. His mother is also wealthy, and so he has never had to work his entire life. His mom just sends him money. Meanwhile, I was a virgin and never had any contact with any women until this ship, the events. I met my significant other through a dating app back on January 13, 2019. From the first date to the end of 2020, things were generally going well. We traveled a lot and also hung out plenty of time with my best friend and his significant other, whom they had been together for around 4 years at the time. When the pandemic hit, my best friend signaled another broke up with him and moved back to China. So during this time, it pretty much became just us 3 hanging out all the time. We would play video games, watch movies, and just hang out together at our homes. When the restaurant started opening up, we would go out to eat, and sometimes he would also happen to take my girlfriend out to go grab some dinner, which at first I didn't think anything of because she lived close by to the places that he would go eat at. I thought nothing of it, and the outings for them became more and more frequent. I fell off as she came home later and later, but I didn't question it because he was my best friend of 20 years, and she would always send me pictures of the food and tell me that she was grabbing dinner with him. January of 2021. I started helping out my girlfriend's family to renovate a new house they just got. During this time, I had already returned to work for 2 days a week. The remainder of the 5 days, I would go help renovate the house. By the end of March, I had broken my wrist tossing out wood planks. I underwent wrist surgery, then her birthday came up on April 29th. April 29th. I had planned a trip for her that involved the 29th 30th. On 30th, as we were coming back home, best friend wanted to give her a birthday cake as well and waited for us to come back. He also gifted her a custom engraved iPad for her birthday in which she was ecstatic over. May, week 1. A week later, she calls me up to break up with me. Reasons being, she didn't see a future with me because I didn't make enough money. She said that I was lazy and I had to find a second job, and I don't have the luxury of playing games all day compared to my best friend who doesn't have to work because he's rich. I was also not the first one to wish her a happy birthday at 12 a.m. I was 2 minutes late. I asked her who it was that I had wished her a happy birthday earlier than me, and she replied with, "You don't need to know." I have come to learn that it was my best friend. May, between week 2-3, a couple of weeks after the breakup, I called up my best friend of 20 years to confide in him that I had broken up with her. Before this, I have never shared any of my issues with my girlfriend with him. He had no idea that I was suffering and going through this pain. Apparently, he had already invited her out for dinner a few days earlier and told me he had no idea we broke up. And that she didn't mention anything about me when they were together. He told me to never hesitate to reach out and that he was already there for me, in which I took up and either hung out or called them up to talk every day for at least 2 hours per phone call. May, week 3. She calls me up to get back together with me. I agree to get back together. Everything seems to be going well for the next few weeks. We had talks of saving money to get a place to move in together next year. We had also planned a 3-day vacation trip together with a bunch of friends that included my best friend. I told my best friend about it, and he gave me advice saying, "You need to reconsider moving in together with her because she broke up with you when you broke your wrist, and that's a huge red flag. She put you through hell all this time, she never gonna change, and can you truly envision the rest of your life with her?" His advice was sound, reasonable, and I accepted it without hesitation. May, week 4 to June, week 3. During this time, I started going to therapy for my broken wrist post-surgery. There were a couple of cute women there that I had casually told my best friend about. After the way my significant other had initially broken up with me amongst the previous issues throughout the years, I started wavering a bit. So I told my best friend about having doubts on maintaining this relationship and if I should break up with her. Maybe I could even ask out one of these ladies. He told me that it was a terrible decision and to just keep my significant other in the dark, just ask out the women from therapy, and that if things work out with them, then my significant other can be a backup until I can transition and promote them into my main girlfriend position. I was extremely distraught at this thought. Cried for a couple of days, and in the end, I didn't go through with it. Seeing as how I would devastate my girlfriend and waste her time, I would hate myself for life. June, week 3. I chose to work on this relationship and work on myself instead, so I delved into online articles on relationship advice. I had many tabs open with different articles, some that are titled, "When to Break Up," "How You Know If She's Worth Sticking Around For," and other generally sensitive topics. When my significant other came over, she saw the open tabs and started questioning me, so I got into a fight and she accused me of having someone else that I liked. She told me that someone else also asked her out at one point during a relationship and she turned him down because she was in a committed relationship with me. She texted my best friend that she was no longer going to do the group outing that we had originally planned. I told her that I was having doubts, but wanted to work out things with her and try my best as we had built something for the last 3 years, and I truly cared for her. I told her I was in it for the long haul. We made up and decided to go on that trip. June of week 4. My best friend had gotten a new apartment, was busy buying furniture and setting up equipment. He asked me to come over to help set up. He had gotten a couple televisions and a table and bed from IKEA that I helped him put together. This was supposed to be his new bachelor pad as he decided to delve back into the dating scene and get out of the single life. He had also really started to work out and do cardio to lose weight. He did a pretty dang good job of it. After I finished helping him put together the bed, he thanked me. Well, I told him, "Nah, no problem. You've been there for me every step of the way through the darkest time of my life. And I would do the same for you. This is nothing." He also reassured me that he never told her anything during the times they hang out. June 30th. This would be the last time I would be able to reach him through phone calls or text. The last time he picked up my call was earlier that day. I tried calling him later that night and texting him. And from that point forth, he dropped off the face of the earth. He would come to reveal that he was having dinner with her that night and didn't want to make things awkward for her by picking up my phone call. This would also be the first time that I know of that she had not told me that they were going out for dinner. Aside from the time when we broke up with the 3 weeks break in between. July 9th, the next time I saw her made contact with him wouldn't be until the trip. He was the driver as he had the car. Before then, whenever the 3 of us hung out, I would always sit up front with him while my significant other sat in the back seat. But this time, she said, it was a long trip, and she gets car sick. So she sat in the front the entire time. During the vacation, my best friend paid for everyone. All the tickets, our meals, and my girlfriend would be together with him the entire time, running off to play the arcades, gamble, and out of sight. Meanwhile, I was stuck in the back, hanging out with my other friends. One of my friends revealed to me that they were gossiping amongst each other and taking pictures of them together, asking each other whose girlfriend that was. During the 3-day trip, I also didn't have any sex with my girlfriend. During the ride back, after everyone was dropped off home, I was the last one on the car with. He also told me that he had gone to the same place last week with the next girlfriend of his, and that's why he knew which places to eat at and which spots were fun. We just talked for a bit, and I asked him why he stopped picking up. And he said he was busy setting up the internet and finishing up at the final touches on his apartment. I would soon find out that the trip he'd booked for the same place was originally intended for my girlfriend so that she would not miss out on the vacation, but I threw a wrench in his plans when I made up with her. End of July, July 25th. My birthday was here, and the week before that, things were getting cold and distant with my girlfriend. She would take hours to respond to texts, sometimes not even text back at all, which she has never done before. She came to stay over the night before my birthday so we can go celebrate together the following day. I waited until 12:05 a.m. before she mumbled nonchalantly to me, "Happy birthday." I tried to have sex with her, which she was brushing me off, also never happened before, but we finally ended up having sex. This would be our last intimate moment together. The actual birthday was a disaster. She was out of it completely. Took me to eat, got me a present, but left halfway through the day, saying she was busy and had work to complete. It would be the last time I ever saw her in person. Combined with a recent trip, I just began to feel terrible, and by the following week, I was pretty much about to call it quits. Week of July 30th. These next few days after my birthday was just me going through the motions of random texting, FaceTimer at night, with no real motions. On Friday, July 30th, I just stopped texting her, in which she also didn't text me at all until 5 p.m. after work ended. I finally called her up, and we got into an argument over the phone. We never explicitly stated we were gonna break up, but admittedly, we ended on a bad note. As I have truly been fed up with her attitude, I started saying pretty angry things and asked her why she never got me a birthday card or a birthday cake, and her response was that she got me a card but didn't know what to write on it because she was scared that I would leave her, and did not get me a birthday cake because she was afraid that this would be the last time I made a wish in front of her. I told her that I didn't give a crap about her as she hung up on me, mid-August. I didn't contact her at all the following 2 weeks until she texted me to tell me her father was coming over to my place to drop off my belongings and for me to return hers. The dad didn't even know what was going on and asked me to work things out with her. He told me he would love to see us reconcile and get back together and told me to keep in touch. August 28th, D-Day. From the vacation until this day, 6 weeks total off the trip. 2 months, if you include the last time I had spoken to my best friend aside from trip. I kept trying to reach out to him, but he never picked up any of my calls or answered any texts. This day during work, one of my other close friends that we all hang out with, calls me and says my best friend called him to tell him my significant other had moved in together with him and are now officially dating. Apparently, my best friend had called him up that morning to tell him the news and to keep it a secret from me. Instead, this other friend told him that as soon as he hangs up, he would call me to tell me the truth, in which he did just that. I was absolutely gutted. That same night was when my best friend finally reached out to me. He called me to tell me everything. Mind you, I'm in a complete state of shock, so I'm answering incoherently and asking stupid questions. Him. Hey, how have you been? If you haven't already realized it by now, I'm dating girlfriend's name. It just happened. I have no choice. Was feeling suicidal if I didn't see her, just being with her made me happy. She doesn't want to see you or speak to you. I'll always have your best interest at heart. She was terrible for you, but perfect for me. I asked him why did he give her a custom iPad engraved with her name and in her favorite color, and how did he even know when her birthday was? He said he just wanted to see her happy, and it didn't mean any more than that. I would find out that he did months of research snooping her social media and stalking her Facebook feeds to find out the relevant information. I asked him when and what made him ask her out to dinner dates. He told me it was because he saw that we were already having issues. She was mistreating you and being very disrespectful towards you, and that he liked her. He saw this opening that he had to take a chance on and shoot his shot, and that he was absolutely floored. She agreed to go out with him. I asked him why he never asked me to go along with him when they were going on one-on-one dinner dates, driving her around to fancy restaurants and all expenses paid. He tells me I didn't want to bother you. You were busy. I didn't consider those dates. I just wanted to see her because I would feel suicidal if I didn't see her. Only being close to her made me alive and happy. Don't worry until you two broke up. I never laid my hands on her, never touched her. I wouldn't do that to you. I said, you do know that is emotional cheating, right? You two have been cheating on me, as her response. If that's the way you see it, then I'm sorry. I asked him that if given the chance to redo this whole situation, would he readily throw me under the bus and pull his stunt again? He said, absolutely, 10 out of 10. She's my soulmate. And that he'd be shocked if he didn't marry her. She's a terrible match with you, but she's perfect with me. I asked why he would pursue her and get together with her when I literally kept no secrets about all her red flags to him. His response was, I feel like you made many mistakes and caused these issues to spiral out of control. I can handle her. I actually like these red flags. It makes things more exciting. I told him that if she was willing to cheat on me, that she would cheat on him in the future as well. And he said, that's totally a possibility. It's a risk I'm willing to take. I'm willing to give my girlfriends a one-time pass for cheating. I asked him why he would do this to me and that he made my life miserable. He had 4 exes and the first 2 cheated on him multiple times, and he cheated on his 3rd girlfriend and dumped her to be with his 4th girlfriend. So I asked him, you've experienced the pain of being cheated on, why would you do this to me? His response was, I didn't think it'd be that bad. Give it some time. You'll get over it, or are you gonna ask out that therapy girl? You're still young. There's plenty of fish out in the sea. We're the same age. I asked him, how was the sex? And he responded with, it's all right. You can find better out there. I asked him how it didn't bother him, or didn't he think of me when he's having sex with her? He says, when you have sex with enough women, you don't think about that stuff. He has also had sex with hundreds of prostitutes. I told him that we never broke up and that we only got into an argument on July 30th. He tells me that he had no idea and that she called him to see him on August 1st, 2 days after our fight, and she was all over him. And that was when he knew that we were over. He says, this last month, she's been living with me in pretty much 70% of the time. She's my living girlfriend now. During this time, a few days before this phone call, my mom, who was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer around 5 years back and was told to stop taking the medications because they were no longer working, and she was too weak to receive further treatment. So she's basically in hospice care. I told my friend if he wanted to visit her one last time because I didn't know whether she'd be around after another year or not. He said, he'd love to, but he can't. My last question to him was, am I your best friend? He replies with, of course, it's not even close. You helped me out during my darkest times, and I'll always remember that. I told him, you weren't there for me during my darkest time. You were nowhere to be found, and now I find out instead you are the perpetrator all along. He said, I'm sorry you feel that way. We end the phone call by him telling me that he's going to lay low for 6 to 12 months. That he won't be hanging out with me during this time. He tells me not to listen to what any of my peers and family say about cutting him off, and that he'll always be friends with me and then he cares deeply about me. He told me this entire time of no contact that he was actually really worried about me and wanted to check up on me all this time. But he was really busy and that tonight was the first time he had time to talk to me. For our final words, he said to only contact him if it pertains to separating you and closing in the joint accounts and bills that you still share with my girlfriend. If it doesn't relate to that issue, do not reach out to me. Basically, if I want to contact my girlfriend, I have to go through him first. I've also come to realize my girlfriend has blocked me from every social media, phone, etc., and she cannot be reached for me to get any sense of closure. I have since sent her 2 emails to talk and gain closure, to tell her how much I hurt her and push her away. To my inability and coldness drove her to seek the warmth and comfort of my best friend. That I was truly sorry for everything. And then if she wanted to move on and date him, that I would give them my blessing, and all I ask is for her to have one final conversation with her for closure. For our last 3 years together to mean something instead of the way it ended and complete ghosting. I have also contacted her father, who said he would talk to me after talking to her. But he has never reached out since. I'm absolutely gutted and devastated. I've not only lost my significant other, that at one point, considered proposing to and starting a family with. I also lost my closest friend that I have shared more than half of my lifetime and half my memories with. Losing my girlfriend of 3 years was bad enough, but losing my best friend through this treachery, I'm in shambles. I see them living large, going on vacations, and having the time of their lives on social media. And meanwhile, I'm here losing 2 of the closest people in my life, aside from my family, and soon my mother as well. I get nightmares of them laughing and smiling at each other while having sex on the bed I helped put together. It haunts me and I get sleepless nights over it. I get random pangs of pain in my chest and it keeps me wide awake. I just want to wake up from all of this to find out that none of this is real. I just don't understand how he could destroy my relationship so badly. This is my first ever relationship, and he just had to steal my first woman. Time for some thoughts. Holy Water Lemon Cole says, so your ex-best friend claims he was depressed to the point that he was suicidal, and yet he still wishes to be with her. Despite how both you and him know that she cheated on you and later started dating him. If he only feels happy when she's with him, that's the problem. If he can't be happy without her, how is he going to handle her cheating on him? Let alone do to him what she did to you. Given he actually has the spine to leave her at that point, because from the sounds of it, she seems more interested in his money than him. And how dare he say he's going to lay low for 6 to 12 months? At that point, he should have just told you not to contact him at all. I don't understand if he explicitly played the victim card to avoid taking responsibility for his actions, or if he is genuinely so deluded that he can't see that what both he and she did to you was wrong. Much less why it's wrong. All in all, I'm very sorry you had to go through this. Kudos to the other friend who called you about your ex-best friend and ex-significant other's bullshittery. You may have lost 2 important people in your life. You've also gained a lot of space for people much more deserving of your time. Next comment coming from Springfield XD45. 2 pieces of dog crap that you need to vacate from your life entirely. I know this sucks. So sorry, man. Last comment coming from Top Dog, number 1. It's gonna be alright, man. Don't let this convolute your view of the world or women, etc. Just live your best life without them. If you have trouble about forgetting them, just remember that they betrayed you and use that emotion as fuel to live happier than them.